Imagine this. You wake up, open Instagram, and suddenly, your favorite singer, your go-to comedian, or that childhood star you grew up with is completely unrecognizable. Thinner, sharper, almost like a different person. And nobody is saying what is really going on. Today, we're going to step into the most unsettling side of Hollywood, the extreme transformations of your favorite celebrities, the changes everyone can see but almost nobody dares to explain honestly. Stick around until the very end, because the last story is not just shocking, it might change forever the way you look at any before and after picture of a famous person. Over the last few years, a kind of medical magic wand has appeared. It was originally designed to treat a very serious illness, but it has quietly become the secret obsession of half of Hollywood for losing weight fast. On red carpets, at award shows, in interviews, we keep seeing celebrities come back with radical changes. Faces more hollow, bodies much smaller, a strange mix of admiration and concern in every photo. Behind those perfect images, there are side effects, health problems, and in many cases, a very uncomfortable silence. In this video, we're not here to judge bodies, but decisions. We're going to talk about how the pressure to fit into an almost impossible beauty standard is pushing many stars into transformations that, far from being miracles, look more like warning signs. Some have talked about it with brutal honesty. Others have tried to build an official story that simply doesn't match what anyone can see with their own eyes. Let's start with someone who broke Hollywood's code of silence, Chelsea Handler. Chelsea Handler is known for her straight-up humor and for never holding back. While a lot of celebrities chose to stay quiet or make up excuses, she did something almost nobody else dared to do. She openly admitted jumping on the trendy weight loss medication train. The shocking part wasn't just the confession, but what she said afterward. She talked about nausea so bad she couldn't work, mood swings that hurt her relationships, and digestive issues so serious she needed medical attention. In her own words, she felt like she was poisoning her body, just for the sake of her image. What makes it even more disturbing is how easily she got it. According to her, her anti-aging doctor was prescribing this type of medication like candy, without really explaining what it was or the risks involved. Even after she stopped the treatment, the problems didn't disappear overnight. She had to keep dealing with fatigue, discomfort, and the fallout of a decision driven at least partly by aesthetic pressure. Chelsea went from being just another shocking transformation on social media to becoming an actual warning sign. Her story shows the side you almost never see in posts, the physical and emotional price of these shortcuts. But if Chelsea's case shows the cost from a place of honesty, John Goodman's transformation looks more like a quiet emergency. For decades, John Goodman was the perfect example of a beloved actor with a big presence that was part of his charm. Then, in a recent appearance, many fans simply didn't recognize him. His face looked sunken, his body extremely thin, and instead of pure applause, what he generated was a wave of worry. Social media filled up with comments asking if he was okay, what had happened, whether he was sick. There have been whispers inside the industry about pressure to update his image, to lose weight in order to stay competitive next to younger actors. More worrying are the rumors of health scares, including emergency hospital visits, linked to how extreme the change was. The saddest part is that millions of people loved him exactly as he was. Relatable, warm, different from the usual leading man mold. His radical transformation doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like a sign of how no one, not even a legend, is truly safe from the demand to look the part, to keep working. If you think those two are intense, what comes next takes things to another level. When an artist's public image is built on acceptance, and then that image starts to crack. Let's talk about Lizzo. Lizzo became a global symbol of self-love and body acceptance. Her message was crystal clear. Celebrate curves, challenge impossible beauty standards, and live without apologizing for how you look. That's why, when photos started circulating showing her dramatically slimmer, the internet didn't react with pure applause. It reacted with shock. Comments from fans poured in, full of confusion and even a sense of betrayal. People asked whether all the body-positive talk had been real or just a carefully crafted brand. The most delicate part are the rumors of pressure from the music industry, drops in streaming numbers, and demands to refresh her image. Between what she shows on stage and what people whisper behind the scenes, you get the picture of someone caught between her public message and the demands of the business. Some followers defend her. They remind everyone that, at the end of the day, she's human, vulnerable to the same insecurities as anyone else. Others feel that such a drastic change, without a truly honest explanation, opens a trust gap that's very hard to close. Beyond who's right, her story leaves a huge question hanging in the air. Can anyone survive Hollywood's pressure without betraying themselves at some point? And Lizzo is not the only woman whose brand was built on being a real woman, but who ended up at the center of uncomfortable questions. Mindy Kaling went from being a representation icon to a controversial example. And Lizzo is not the only woman whose brand was built on being a real woman, but who ended up at the center of uncomfortable questions. Mindy Kaling went from being a representation icon to a controversial example. For years, Mindy was admired for showing up as she really was, a curvy, smart, successful woman, writing, acting, and producing in an industry obsessed with one narrow body type. But over a short period, her appearance changed drastically. A much slimmer face, a significantly smaller body. A before and after that became impossible to ignore. In interviews, Mindy has talked about lifestyle changes and healthier habits. Still, the speed of the transformation and the timing, right when major projects were dropping, sparked doubts among fans and observers. Her social media posts, full of carefully chosen angles and outfits, only added to the feeling that something was being carefully hidden. Some people who claim to have worked with her mention a shift on set, more focused on appearance, more mirror-obsessed, stricter with herself. The result is a clear split. Some followers praise the new look, while others feel like a chunk of the authenticity that made her special has gone missing. And when it comes to perfect narratives that later get questioned, we can't ignore Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson proudly announced what she called her year of health. She showed workouts, talked about discipline, hard work, and new habits. For many people, she became a role model, proof that big changes were possible with effort and consistency. But over time, reports and expert analyses started pointing in a different direction. Health professionals, looking at her photos and timeline, noticed patterns that looked more like medicated weight loss than a slow, natural process. On top of that, there have been alleged leaks from people connected to her medical care, saying she did, in fact, get pharmaceutical help. The most damaging part for her credibility is that her story didn't just live as free inspiration. Programs, advice, and even monetized content were built around that year of health narrative. If a key part of that story wasn't fully transparent, people who trusted her example now feel misled. Co-workers have claimed they saw mood changes, body image obsession, and distance from anyone who questioned what was really going on. The actress who once mocked Hollywood's body standards now seemed trapped inside them. And in the middle of all these stories, there is one that hurts especially hard, because it involves a woman whose entire career was built on honesty. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah built her empire by being open about her struggles with weight, diets, and the pressure to look a certain way. Millions connected with her, Because she didn't sell perfection. She sold vulnerability and growth. So when she acknowledged using medication to manage her weight, the reaction was much more intense than with any other celebrity. This isn't just a personal choice. Oprah's voice carries huge weight in conversations about health, wellness, and motivation. Normalizing this kind of shortcut from her position has a massive impact, especially on people who don't have the same access to doctors, supervision, and resources. Critics point to the contradiction. For years, she preached process, self-work, and acceptance. And now she seems to embrace a shortcut she might have once questioned. Some fans defend her, saying it proves that even the strongest people crack under pressure. Others feel like a trust pact broke, as if a piece of the image that made her so special suddenly collapsed. And finally, there's a particularly sensitive type of case. Celebrities who build their brand around natural wellness while carrying heavy rumors of doing the exact opposite behind closed doors. Take Kourtney Kardashian. She crafted her role in the Kardashian family as the wellness queen, pushing organic products, detox routines, supplements, and a supposedly clean lifestyle. When she started showing a much leaner body and a noticeably different face, the official story stayed the same. All thanks to healthy habits. Experts who have examined her photos point out familiar signs of rapid, assisted weight loss. Inside the industry, there's been buzz about family tensions and fears over what these contradictions could do to the credibility of the empire they've built. For fans who buy the products and follow the advice, the possibility that there are undisclosed shortcuts behind the scenes feels worse than a simple omission. It wouldn't just be a celebrity changing her mind. It would be a wellness brand built on an image that may not be entirely real. After this whole journey, one thing is painfully clear. These transformations are not just fun before and after content. They're symptoms of an industry that rewards extreme thinness, punishes aging, and treats people's bodies like unfinished projects that are never good enough. Now, it's your turn. When you see your favorite celebrity reappear with a shocking new body, what's the first thing you feel? Are you inspired? Worried? Or do you just scroll past it? Do you think celebrities owe us full honesty about what they do to their bodies? Or do they have the right to stay silent, even if their image influences millions of people? Do you think these shortcuts will keep being the norm in Hollywood? Or is there a breaking point where audiences will finally say enough and demand more transparency? Tell me in the comments, which transformation has shocked you the most? And who should we take a closer look at in the next video? If you enjoy stories where we peel back the glossy filter and expose the hidden side of fame and extreme makeovers, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and get ready, because what you see in photos is not always the full truth.